So I went to the doctors, man of a certain age, need to go get certain things checked up. And I walked in for my prostate exam. And the doctor came in, put the gloves on, and he said, now, Jeff, it's perfectly okay to get an erection when this procedure's happening. And I said, I'm sorry, Doc, my name's Lee. And he said, no, I'm Jeff. I had a really good joke about Scandinavians the other day. I'd tell you more, but there's no way I'd get the accent right. Is this on? Hello?
Ouch.
What? Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, dogs can bark, it turns out, up to 500 times a day. But that's just a rough estimate. Hello and welcome to the Black Dog version 290. I'm Lee.
I'm sorry.
I'm Jim.
I'm excited.
Wow. Oh, nice. No, you're Jeff. Yeah, wow, rough crowd. Anyway, right. Okay, so yes, welcome to episode 190. This week we'll see how everyone's week's been, and then we will have maybe a tiny bit of feedback for last week's episode, and then we will move on to this week's movie, which is your pick, Darren, which was
71.
71. The other 70 movies you didn't need to see beforehand, so that's handy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, but
It's a film about bingo.
It is having the fun 71.
Two fat ladies just walked in.
Yes.
Hooray!
Clickety click, my knees are broken.
Inappropriate accents, 72.
Anyway, so we'll get to that soon enough. And but before that, let's find out how everyone's week's been. And he says, reaching for a pen, otherwise he can't keep notes and write those really humorous intros on his notes. There you go. Right, so found a pen. Right, Jim. So, how's your week been, sir?
Sort of painful, to be honest. As into the land of old man talk. Many years ago, I had an exercise bike. I stopped using it. After using it one time, I actually knackered my knee. Moral of the story. Don't exercise. And basically, I just twisted it wrong. It hurt. It got better. However, since then, periodically, if you just move your leg a little bit wrong, it goes out again. And I have no idea what movement this is, because that'd be far too easy. But every now and again, not like that often, but every now and again, I just manage to do it, and the knee hurts, and I do have like this like a medical support brace that goes on it. You stick that on it, keep it on for a few days. I limp about a bit, and but it sorts itself out, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And there's not a lot else to do about it. It's just one of those stupid injuries. But again, don't exercise. Walk, swim, a short run. That's all we design to do. Anything else, you're going to fuck yourself up. You don't see any old athletes. Think on that.
Yes.
Anyhow. Literally the other night, I just turned my leg and I felt it went. It's kind of bollocks. Anyhow, it was fine, and I put the brace on and limped about for a bit, and it got better. I took the brace off, and then every now and again, we have two joggers that run past our house.
Yeah.
And they're, to be honest, if you saw them, you would think they were skagheads. They don't need to be jogging anymore.
Right.
Unless they're running to Greg's. You do not have permission to do this. You can stop now.
Right.
But they wear head torches. And they clearly just, one started out just as two blokes having a run in a park. And it's escalated. And sort of the two rimmers style, one-upping each other.
Oh, right.
So now when they're going past our house, bellowing at each other, because they have to bellow at each other, obviously.
Yes.
It's actually at 5 a.m.
Oh.
On a weekend.
Oh, Jesus.
Usually Saturday morning, or rather early Sunday morning. And thankfully, they don't come past every week, but occasionally, obviously, they come this route past my house. And when they do, they wake my dog up, who sees lights and hears shouting and thinks he's a burglar. Quite right,
Oh.
clever dog.
Yeah.
And I say, I noticed then because I've got a video doorbell. And after being woken up at like just around 5 o'clock on random Sundays, it's those bastards. And they came back this week. So I'm asleep, I hear the dog bark, and I do what I always do. I jump up, see what the matter is.
Yep.
And bang, and he goes out again. Just literally the day it got better.
Ow.
Do you know you can buy bear traps on Amazon?
Yes.
It's amazing
Do
what you
now.
can get online these days. That's all I'm saying. I'll leave that there.
Pretty sure we saw those, didn't we, Elton, when we did that post-apocalyptic episode of the Shulky Lab?
I'm sure we
Would you
did,
survive
yeah.
the apocalypse with Amazon?
Yeah, nice. Okay. So, well, we'll be on the lookout for the news story. The news story of someone being consumed by a bear trap somewhere in Darlington. Nice, awesome work.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Brilliant. Is that it, sir?
I think I'll leave that there before I incriminate myself further.
Well, I was going to say anything else becomes admissible in evidence. Right, yo. So we'll move on to you then, Elton. What about you, sir? How's your week been?
Very good. The only thing of note, really, is I bought a game for the PlayStation.
Oh, yes.
It's a very, very cheap game. Less than 4 of our English pounds
Yes.
for this game.
Leisure Suit Larry?
Oh, I wish. I've never played that. I wish so. It's called Exit 8. Has anyone heard of this game?
No.
Exit A.
No.
Okay, so this is a puzzler where you don't really do much. You just kind of walk. So the premise is you are in a train. I think it's like a train station. It must be like a train station. And you're looking for the exit number 8. And you walk down these corridors, and the further along you go on these corridors, you end up on like exit 1 and then go to exit 2. I think it's platform 1, platform 2 type thing.
Right.
And you got to find number 8. But sometimes you get thrown back to platform 0. And this is because there are anomalies on each platform.
Right.
So you'll walk down this corridor. There'll be posters on the left-hand side. There'll be doors on the right-hand side. You'll have a floor, ceiling, lights, sign, and a man walking towards you. And every now and again, something feels a bit off.
Right.
At which point, you need to turn back, and you'll be able to progress to the next stage, which is the same corridor with possibly differences or possibly no differences whatsoever. And then you get to choose whether you continue forwards. There are no differences, or you reverse back and there are differences.
Right.
Yeah. It gets quite scary at times. The sound quality is very, very good. There are jump scares all the way through. There's a moment where I threw my controller out my hands because there's a couple of these things where they do the creepy thing of that they may be like a door slightly ajar, and that is the thing that's off. It's not normally ajar, and you're like, what the fuck's up behind that door? And then you're like, no, just walk away. Just walk away. This is wrong. This is clearly wrong. But there was one moment where there was 2 guys in there. And I was like, oh, there's like 2 men standing there. That's an anomaly. But I want to go see what they look like. And so I walked up to and then their heads just snapped into position to look at me. I was like, oh shit, try to turn around. and then they just appeared immediately behind me. It's like, oh fuck, and that kind of just killed the game. It's like, okay, right, now you start all over again.
Oh God,
It's a good little puzzler. It is a really I'm going to do a video on this. It is a real good puzzler, and there's lots of things, lots of anomalies to find. It's really cheap. I've got it on the PlayStation. It's on Steam. I'm sure it's really cheap on there as well. There are other games as well which I'm interested in, which are very similar to this, which I've seen someone play on, and it's you walk onto. I don't know if it's called Backrooms or not, but there's one on a train carriage, and so you walk onto a train carriage. And if there's something off, then you walk.
I know
backwards.
these ones. These we've seen quite a few videos of these here, and that you get different types, and it's like an observation game.
Yeah.
So what you do is the moment you notice something is wrong, you have to. They started off by you being in some sort of control room watching a house. And you were trying to stop these incursions of these things coming in, and the only way you'd know if they were about to hit would be if something wasn't quite right about the room. You've been through like the rooms first of all, and you can see how they look, how normal they are, but then there'd be tiny little things like maybe there's an extra like I don't know, an extra handle on a drawer in a kitchen. And it'd be like, and you have to report it. You've got sort of like ways you can actually report these in, and if you don't, then you lose so much life or something because you've missed that incursion, right?
Yeah.
And so they've evolved now to, and I know the one you mean about the station. They're really good ones. Those ones. They could be quite freaky as well. I find. Some of these ones. There's another one about, but what you said about the Backrooms, that's another set of games as well. That's very, very good. You can buy for about £5, and you get like about 200 levels per game, and they all start changing. You get different environments. It's really, really well done. They're all indie games. So there's a whole wealth of imagination used in these things.
You're making a long corridor.
Yes, but it is a long corridor, but it's when you get to the end of it, what have you noticed?
Oh, right.
You see, and some things you get stalked by stuff as well. If you're not careful, you'll get killed. Especially the train station one, you can come across it quite easily in that.
Yep.
So yeah, they're actually quite good. They're good to watch other people play them as well. Because they can be quite funny when you get the reaction. The jump scares are just quite random.
Help me!
Exactly, yeah. I think somebody did actually scream that once on one of them. So
who'd be stupid enough to film themselves getting scared shitless by a game?
Exactly. Anyone for VR Alien?
Oh, fucking silly. So hold on, Elton. So let me just get this straight, because that's just Darren's just reminded me. So you will play games like The Exit 8, which I'm now looking at on Wikipedia.
Okay, yep.
So you'll watch that and you'll creep the fuck out of yourself. But
I didn't realize it was creepy.
But you're gonna make a video on it now. So that means you're gonna play it again and creep yourself the fuck out.
Yeah, probably.
Why won't you get Alien Isolation?
No, I can't do that game. No, that is just stupid game. Stupid. I can't.
Do it.
I find the nearest locker and I just that is where I live now, in the locker.
You wouldn't live in there for very long. It will find you.
Yeah, I know.
Do it.
No, I can't. I can't do that game.
Do it.
Yeah, I reckon. I tell you what, I reckon. Everyone listening here.
No.
Right. I think everyone listening here would love to see a video of you playing Alien Isolation, and would quite happily donate at least a single shiny pound each to your Patreon to make you do it.
No.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, guys?
No. Yeah, I think it's a really great idea.
Jim?
No.
I think it's got legs.
No.
I think so too. Yeah. I think
there's a granddaddy game to all of this, based on a website where S8 SCH, SCP.
Oh, SCP, yes.
Yeah,
and
SCP,
there was a game they did where you basically go down a stairwell.
Yep, that's it.
Down
into
different levels and levels and levels, and
Yeah.
things moving. You can hear things moving in the dark, and then something will get you.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! That sounds hideous.
Okay.
It's only dead small and free.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I think people listening, if you want to donate a shiny pound to Elton's Patreon, that's the Rogue 2. It's patreon.com/Rogue2Media, isn't it? And if you go on there and you donate a shiny pound, and it'll let you say what message would you like to say, and you just put Alien Isolation SCP.
No,
that's all you got to do.
No,
and Elton will do it, because once he has lots of money, he'll be very happy to do it, won't you?
Hey, Elton will do it because he's really not good with peer pressure. So yeah, there we go. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I mean that could be it.
I thought I was just bringing a game that other people might be interested in. A little fun little game, pennies, basically pocket money game here.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just spread the love a little bit, and now all of a sudden it's me scaring myself playing games I'm not very good at and will scare me.
Yeah,
we've turned it from that, right?
Side. There isn't a Lake Mungo game yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
We've turned it from just a plain old video game viewing to paying to watch a man tear his mental health to pieces, right?
For our amusement. For our amusement.
It's almost like we're back in the Victorian age, where they used to go down to asylums and that for a bit of entertainment. Well, we've got it all on the internet. You don't even have to go anywhere. You can just watch it from home now.
Yeah. I reckon that'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's coming up for October, isn't it? Elton's roast potato game sessions.
Roast potato
he could end up
tinted specs.
Roast potato inspects.
Elton could turn out to be the new John Merrick, couldn't he? This is it.
What?
What's that?
Well, the Elephant Man. If you've seen the film the Elephant Man, where he's in the Victorian asylum, well, this is kind of like that now. Where people are poking fun with jabbing him with sticks and stuff like that. This will be it.
What do you reckon, Elton? Come on.
No, not a chance. No way. No.
Cash. I'll even buy you the copy of Alien Isolation for you. You've got it.
I've already got it.
You've been playing it, haven't you?
Oh. Yeah, and I'm not very good at it.
That makes it even better.
No, because it's so frustrating. Creep along here. No.
And I'll tell you what we'll do also, right?
You don't know frustrating. I remember Sam Fox's strip poker on the ZX Spectrum. Now, that was frustrating.
Yeah. Because I tell you what, she was all in one colour as cyan.
Against the yellow background. Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely impossible to see anything.
Elton, look, if you get this game wrong, well, you could do the really, really good level where if you've got a headset with a mic on it, the game picks up your voice. So if you start talking, the alien hears you as well, and it knows where you are. Wouldn't that be fun?
I think that'd be amazing.
You've got a VR headset. You've got it on the PS4. You can get it on that. You've got the VR headset. You can play it on that. That'd be fantastic.
We'll be all with you, Elton.
Yeah, we will.
Right, I'm saying no now. It's not happening.
We'll be with you, at least 20 miles away. Yep.
Where we will hear you screaming from.
Yep.
Oh, well. Yeah, it'd be fine, mate. It'd be fine. Nothing. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing could go wrong. I'll tell you what. Here's a deal for you. If you do that,
no, it's not. No.
I was going to say, if you do that, what we'll do is we will let you pick a happy film for the 4 weeks of horror.
Or we'll let you pick a G.I. Joe film, and we won't judge you for it.
Oh, steady on. Steady on.
Oh, no, have I gone too far? Have I over-egged the custard on this one?
Yeah. You've turned the custard into a souffle, my friend.
Right.
There are limits.
There's limits. There's no way I'm going back to a G.I. Joe again. No. Not without judgment. Not without judgment. It can't be done.
Grab hold of my ankles.
Just all I'm saying is just think about it. And I'm just saying that anyone listening right now could put the fingers on the scales with a little bit of, Patreonage.
Right. I'll think about it. No, not happening.
No, you said it now. This is it.
He said no. I said no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah? Is that right? Okay.
Well, we could talk to the people who write G.I. Joe and get them to sponsor you. Couldn't we? We could. And then it'd be like Elton McManus does Alien Resurrection, sponsored by Itty Ditty Bitty Bag. There you go.
Sergeant Slaughter sending you a personal message. Yo, Joe, if you want to be someone, be someone. Yeah.
Right. You talk about yourselves.
No, stop. This is no. I just wanted to share a game.
You did, but you've forgotten. You've been here for 190 episodes, mate. You haven't worked it out by now.
Why can't it be? Owen, how's your week? Oh, I did this. That's great. Let's move on to Darren. Okay, Darren, how was your week? But no, it's and this, and we'll pull on this thread, and this.
Oh my God!
No,
go on.
Stop,
oh my God!
Stop.
Guess who's got himself a channel on Cameo? Which person do you think has got himself who's doing personalised messages dressed in full costume?
Is it
a man who's in the military who has a name that sounds rather dodgy? Yes.
Is he in Star Wars Episode 1?
No, he isn't.
I'm dead. Get him to do it at my funeral. I don't care. Not now, please.
Itty bitty titty bag.
Listen up. WWE and G.I. Joe. American hero. Just returned here to the slaughterhouse barracks. When I was told I had a very important message
to give to Elton McManus.
No.
Yo, Joe.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. This could be the best $195 we've ever clubbed together and bought something for.
Oh, good Lord! How much?
$195.
I know.
To get him
far too expensive, isn't it? Okay, let's
personal
move on.
video.
Darren, how was your week? Honestly, what have you been up to, Darren?
Oh, you don't want to know what my week's just misery. My week's just misery this week.
Oh, his average video length is 2 minutes and 51 seconds.
Oh, you're on there now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I can press this button that says secure payments and money back guarantee.
Don't.
Well, it's either that or it's Jay from the In-Betweeners. What do you want? What you want? That one. What you want? Go for it.
Hold on.
Honestly, I'm saying no. Don't be silly.
Anyway, Darren, how was your week?
Oh, wait a minute. How about Clinton Baptiste? Worth it for 38 quid. There we go. I'm getting a word. No.
Nonce. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, it's fine. Elton.
Hello.
Don't be downhearted, sir. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all fine. You're fine. Always remember. You're fine. You're fine. It's safe. You're in a field. It's warm. You're fine. There's nothing going on. There's no one forcing you to play a horror game that will basically make you shit out your spleen, you're fine. You will be fine. We shall go no further with this thing.
No, we shall leave it.
We shall leave it. There will be no more further discussions upon it.
Good.
I'm glad you like the game. Now that we have successfully destroyed Elton for another week.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, mate. I'm really sorry. Right, Darren.
Yes.
How was your misery-filled week, you miserable old fuck?
Well, you know, I thought maybe September might be a good month because it's my birthday month. You know, this is it. I thought, you know, maybe just for a month things might go my way.
Mm-hmm.
How wrong could a man be? Very much so.
Right.
So, let's see. It was Thursday last week, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I, for some reason, wake up at around about 3 a.m,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. And then I noticed that one of the lights in the living room was still on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go in there. It's the desk lamp we normally keep on anyway as like part of the lighting. We don't normally put the main light on.
Right.
But I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute. Did we leave the passage light on as well?
Right.
Anyway, I went to switch the passage light on, and I got nothing. I'm like,
Right.
oh, what's gone on here? None of the lights are coming on at all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can hear that the fan, the extractor fan in the bathroom is completely silent, which it never is. Right. It's either on full power when you got the light on, or after you've turned it off for a little while, it goes to some sort of low-powered extractor fan. Right.
After you've had an enormous crap.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've had an enormous shit. I've turned on my extractor fan.
Yep. And there's people outside going, ew, like that. That's what you can hear them in the car park. Ew. And there's me, and all they can hear from inside the flat is
cars going into fences. Go, oh,
exactly.
fucking hell. Yeah, go on.
There's mass murder in the car park. So I think to myself, well, something's obviously tripped. It's got to trip the circuit. So I go into the circuit box and I switch it on. I can see the actual thing as flips. So I switch that on and the lights all come back on, right? So we had a few other lights on that I've just obviously neglected to switch off. I go to the toilet and I pull because I still can't hear the extractor fan, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I still can't hear the extractor. So I go to switch the light on to see if I can see what's going on. And as I did that, I felt water on my face.
Oh,
and
God.
it's like,
oh no!
Oh fuck! What the hell's gone on? I've got water coming out of the actual light switch in the bathroom, right?
At the light switch.
At the actual switch. You know, the drawstring you pull to get the thing to come out.
So it's coming through the ceiling.
It's just coming through that bit, right? Now everything's on. The lights are on. Everything's playing okay. So it's like, well, is it just the switch, or has it got into the electrics? Because it doesn't seem to be affecting anything else.
Is it just the switch attached to the tap, or what?
Yeah. So, the next day or that night, I'm fucking emailing the landlord and just letting him know what's going on and whatever. And it seems to dry up after about an hour. There's no other activity, so I'm thinking, well,
these things normally fix themselves, don't they? When you have water coming out the
exactly. I'm thinking
lights, a pull switch. They just heal.
They do. It's like Wolverine. It's got a healing factor.
You just click it a couple of times, and it'll eventually turn that tap off upstairs.
It certainly did. Well, I noticed there was like a puddle on the floor as well underneath the actual drawstring.
Gravity working like that.
Indeed. So anyway, I'm thinking, well, was it a spillage upstairs? Did they have like an overflowing tap or something like that? Did they fucking leave a sink on or whatever? Because it stops. There's no more water coming out. And so I think, well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe they've had an accident upstairs. I'll find out. But the next day, Suddenly we got water coming down the walls.
Right.
Oh, God.
Around about the same time in the, I guessed it must have been about 11 o'clock at night that maybe this leak started before. And yeah, we had water coming down the walls and everything. So I went upstairs, knocked on the upstairs neighbour's door there, trying to be as unthreatening as possible at around about 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
So, and then I realised, just as I've knocked on the door, that I'm dressed in black jeans and a black hoodie.
Are you still got your chainsaw in your hand?
I've got my ski mask on and stuff like that. I mean,
covered in water with a drawstring around your neck.
Exactly, social faux pas, that kind of thing. And it's the bloke's wife's come to the door, and she says to me that it's like, well, we don't know, we can't see anything wrong in the flat or anything. There's nothing wrong in the bathroom. I said, so you've had nothing at all? Haven't any major spillages on the floor or anything like this? She's like, no, we haven't. She said, well, actually, she said, my husband did say that the water wasn't right. And I'm like, that could mean anything. I'm guessing, though, maybe it's pressure, right? So anyway, to cut a long story short, we did get it fixed. It was there. It was liable for them, so they got a plumber in to come around and have a look,
right,
to get it all done.
What was it?
Yeah, what
don't
was
know. The plumber did come down to have a word with me. He said, like, can I just come in and have a look and see where the water's been running down and whatever. Fortunately, there isn't really that much staining on the wall. It's quite light, so. It wasn't like really dirty water or anything like this. I think it just came through the brickwork, and it's picked up a slight orange tinge to it, so you can see where it. If you look closely, you can see where it's come down the wall. We got like a magnolia colour on the wall of the passageway where this came down.
Really?
Yeah, a bit like your pants. But the guy went upstairs. He did something, and 15 minutes later, he's walked out. I see him get in his van and drive off. And it's like, oh, shit, I wish I'd seen him. I would have stopped him. But after that, we had nothing. So the actual light switch in the bathroom stopped working. So I'm going to, this is the thing where I could pull it and it would click before it stopped. So I'm guessing there's quite a bit of dirt.
Glug.
Yeah. I'm guessing there's quite a bit of dirt inside the mechanism. So we've got this brightly coloured workman's sort of light that we've had in the bathroom. I've had to shit my gaslight anyway. So yeah,
well, it burns the old smell out. So that's cool.
It certainly does. Yeah, yeah. So pretty shit really. We thought, are we going to have more of this? I thought myself, is it going to start affecting the plaster in the ceiling? Because it started going across the ceiling in the passageway as well, in a straight line. So it's like, well, is that some sort of seam that it's come through between two sort of boards or something up there? I think
that might be running across a joist.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's what the guy who does the looks after the estate here. He said that's most probably what's happened. It's probably gone through. I think it was him anyway who said that.
What I'm kind of interested in is how you managed to be so entirely calm with like pulling a switch on and off with water coming down it, and then just going. And then I went to bed. It's like,
no, I didn't. I didn't just go to bed. I made sure we were all safe and everything was fine. But yeah, it's just. You think everything's going to be fine. You think, I've had some troubles this month, but how much worse can it get? Do you know? It's every time I say, "What's the worst that could happen?" The worst happens.
What you mean, like now?
Yeah, like now. It's like that time we were down Seven Sisters, and I'm like, "Hey, come on, let's climb up the side of this hill." And Rhiannon's like, "Are you fucking sure? Have you seen how steep that is?" I went, "Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?" The next thing, it's like we're going back down on our asses, basically just edging along to try and reach firm ground because we couldn't get to the very top. It was like, oh fuck, we're stuck. So yeah, so
Stuck
there's
up a
that.
hill in Seven Sisters.
We're stuck up the side of this fucking hill, this chalk fucking cliff.
He's hardly climbing fucking Everest. He's a he's a hill
no.
in Seven Sisters.
Yeah, no, this is the sort of thing of one sneeze and that's it, mate. You're done for. It was like, you know, the actual gradient was really quite severe. So I'm never doing that again.
Right.
Yeah, so if you need something to happen to someone, right, get me to go around and have a conversation with them, and I'll say, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, there you go.
Hold on, I'm getting a message about the podcast. What, we've been fucking cancelled?
Again?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, again, yeah.
Like,
we're like fucking Dracula. We keep getting resurrected.
I was going to say, give it to the end of this podcast to see how we get on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Apart from that, it's me around mum and dad's clearing out old gear, and that just clearing out anything that because they're going to be moving.
Oh yeah.
Soon, yeah. So we'll get them somewhere better to stay. We've got to wait. There's one or two things we've got to go through with the authorities and stuff, and then we'll get them in because you know mum and dad are not exactly spring chickens anymore, so they need a better place than what they've got, and we think you know hopefully fingers crossed they're going to get a better place. So it's making sure all any you know just basically just taking stuff out of their house, any rubbish they've got, and any old gear that is not wanted is disposed of, and any of my old stuff that's still there
going to computer exchange.
Yeah, it goes to computer exchange or eBay. No, I've already got rid of you know some stuff. So yeah, you know, phoning people up saying, "Do you want this?" They're like, "Oh yeah, I'll have that. Thank you very much."
An Amiga 1200?
No, not an Amiga 1200. There's a lot of I've got things like Babylon 5 micro machines and stuff like that. They're still in their packets. They haven't been taken out. They've already gone.
Are you giving those away? What? To who?
Yeah. Mr. Placides, actually.
Fuck you.
What? What?
Fuck off.
Yeah, he's getting them.
Oh well, that's good. Oh well, I'm glad the 40 years of friendship counted for fucking something.
Oh no, wait a minute. I've got the real good stuff I've still got to get to. Right, I've got boxes and boxes of this gear. So
no, I'm not taking those Alexander O'Neill tapes and you fucking.
Oh
shoulder
come
pads.
on! You're the. I thought of you when I looked at those. And the Colonel Abraham's jacket and stuff like that, and you know, with the cassette boxes on the shoulders
and the rolled up sleeves,
yeah,
on
the
a
rolled
leather
up
jacket.
sleeves, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trapped like I thought I'm in a cage and can't get out.
Yeah.
May not have been a real colonel.
Do you think? Is he like that other one, Sanders? Do you think he was he ever in the military?
I think he was on the wrong
like
side.
Dr. Hook.
Yeah, he wasn't a practitioner, was he? Really?
No.
You know,
No.
This
or was
is
he just?
This is a Shonky Lab episode.
Oh, it is,
this
isn't
is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Captain
Let's do it.
Birdseye.
Yeah. Dr. Dre. This would be one heck of an interesting.
Completely not made up of frozen water.
Fictional
If we-
people with ranks.
If
Yeah.
we got people that were in show business that have given themselves ranks, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
could be an interesting episode of ER we could put together here where
Colonel
nobody
Tom
knows.
Parker.
Yeah, Colonel
Yeah.
Tom Parker. I very much
Yeah.
that he was in the military. Yep.
Very much not.
Dr. Fox.
Dr. Fox.
Yep.
Exactly.
Not a real doctor.
Not a real doctor or a real fox. That was a two for that one.
Yeah.
That's a twofer. Yeah, there you go. T-Rex made up entirely of humans. Fuck me.
Sergeant Pepper.
Yeah, it was neither sergeant nor made of ground pepper. Yeah, I think you got a winner there, Elton. I think that one's got legs. Mm. There you go. Yeah, the Eagles, all human.
Yep.
Fucking liars. The lot of them.
Yep.
Bastards. Lying bastards.
I know. I'll listen to the Eagles.
Yes. Pink Floyd. None of them were pink, and none of them were called Floyd. Not a
No.
single one of them. Not
Not
just
one.
Totally, not one.
Not one.
Absolutely rubbish.
Not one.
No. There we go. So there you go. Yeah. Pete.
The mummers and the
Pete.
puppers. Not a kid in sight.
No,
No,
none of them.
Well, not until later. Not until after they left the band. Then I think they had children.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Johnny Cash, completely skimp.
Yep. Don't even get me started on Hazy Fantasy. What the fuck is that all about? I don't know.
Wow.
Well, thanks to their pioneering work, we do know that John Wayne was indeed big leggy. So there is that.
Was he? Excellent. So they at least got that right. So we can't sue him on that.
Some of the finest minds in 80s pop history, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Devastating Dave was not a turntable slave, it turns out.
No, he wasn't. No, he was an accountant from fucking Bishopsgate. Yeah. Honestly, man.
Normative determinism. There you go.
Yep.
And what's the anti of that? Anyway, well, there you go, Elton. You're welcome. See?
I also heard that the Prodigy
take
wasn't
with
very
one
good at
hand and
school.
give with the other.
You know, their education level was pretty poor, actually. They just
fucking
picked
rubbish.
themselves up. Yeah. And they
Yeah.
never started any fires.
Yeah.
They did. They were able to breathe, though. So,
Yeah.
you know,
They were, and they weren't really pyromaniacs, no matter what they said.
no, they didn't know anybody called Charlie either.
No,
Stuff like that. You know,
Never went to space.
no,
Yep.
no. And
Not
the
at
thing
all.
with, and it's like the thing with Blur. I mean, they were pin sharp on the telly.
Exactly. None of them lived in a house, a very big house in the country.
Well,
Either.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah. But there you go.
I don't know about what they're doing now. I think they actually have retired to the country
Yes, exactly.
now.
There you go.
Yes,
Pulp. Completely solid. Anyway.
indeed.
Right. Well,
Go
that's-
west.
they lived in East Sheen.
Exactly. Didn't follow their own advice.
Wet,
all.
wet, wet, completely dry.
Yep.
Bananarama, hating
And the-
fruit.
And the Doobie Brothers weren't even fucking related.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway, you're welcome, Elton. There you go.
Yep.
Off
Yeah, that's
to
your-
the Shonky Lab. Investigate.
Get your pen and
Investigations.
paper out. Write this down. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
Yep. People in show business who claim to be something they weren't.
go. Exactly.
There we go.
Liars. That's it. Liars. It's all marketing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift never won a fucking foot race in her life. Ever.
And she couldn't make me a fucking suit.
No. Yep, shit with a needlework. She really was.
Don't know how to use a sewing machine. Couldn't knock up a jacket if she tried.
Couldn't even sow seeds. Not at all.
Tears for Fears, not even scary.
No,
No,
not
terrible.
at all. Well, they had
Fucking
trouble with their
rubbish.
tear ducts, so it's there,
Yeah.
there was none of that.
Right.
How much do they fetch on the stock market? Actually,
What?
Tears for Fears. What's the going rate
I don't
there?
know.
How many
think it's-
tears for a fear?
I don't know. I think it's the same as the Toys R Us.
Toysaurus.
Toysaurus, yeah. I mean, really. Toysaurus.
Hang on, what's that word?
Don't go
Oh
there.
no, that's the bottom of the barrel. There we go. I think we've hit it.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, is
we
somebody
haven't
trying to
even
get
got
in? I
close.
can hear a scraping sound.
We haven't even got close. You cowards. we can always go lower. There's always something underneath the barrel. Otherwise, what was it standing on? Yeah. Anyway, right. Well, Brian Cox had nothing to do with apples. Anyway,
But
however,
I understand he was big in the porn industry. But there you go.
Peter North was always going south. think about it. Anyway, right. Before this rolls on to like 7 hours of us just making things up, my week. Unless you got anything else, Dal.
No, that's about it actually.
Okay. Well, my week's pretty quick actually. Because as ever, when you go on holiday, and you go on a flight, what's the first thing you bring back with you? An illness from the plane. Yay! Not
you
memories.
Got plane crud.
I have plain lurgy coming out of my ears. I've fighting it all last week, and then finally succumb on Friday, and I'm over it now. But I've still got some thing up my nose, because I tell you one thing, right? Here's a little straight talk for you. Let me just say, no matter how hairy your nose is, ladies and gentlemen out there, and I'm going to say ladies because you never know, but if you've got a hairy nose, right, and you've got a cold or you're recovering from a cold, no matter how hairy it is, do not get your nose hair clippers and put it up your nose when you got a cold. Because two things will happen. One, your nose hair trimmer gets covered in snot. Obvious. But secondly, because it can't get a grip of the hairs to slice the hairs off, what happens is they get caught up in the blades and it tangles up. And I have done mine. I've got a scar on the inside of my nose where instead of cutting my nose hairs, what it did was yank them all out. Like a little tiny blender flywheel thing, ripped out a big old clump straight out of my nose. So there you go. Safety tip from the top. Don't stick nose hair clippers up your nose when you got a cold, because otherwise you don't cut, you rip. There you go. That's my week. No, actually, the other thing was while I was ill, I decided to finally binge watch and catch up with The Boys on Amazon Prime. So I watched the whole last episode, the whole last season.
Yes.
Was it season 4?
Yes.
And I literally did the whole lot in a single day. I absolutely blasted through it.
I fucking love that show.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so wrong in so many ways, but it is so good. And it's quite funny to see how the gloves are coming off, and people, you can see people online, because I went on the Reddit forums afterwards to see what people were saying.
What did you do that for?
No, because it's interesting. Because it's interesting to see how other people view things sometimes, and it's really interesting to see how many people are going, "What? They're taking the piss out of us upstanding right-wing folk." It's like, yes. I hate to bring this up, but you're the ones being parodied, and actually Homelander isn't a good guy who should be standing up for and cosplaying. It's a bit like cosplaying Hitler. Yep. It's like, no, you don't do that. So that was quite amusing. But yeah, The Boys was fantastic. I literally just sat there in bed, kind of squirming at all the stuff that was going on, going, "Oh God, oh no, all the way through."
If you're looking for a bit of a fix of The Boys, if you haven't already watched it, watch Gen V. Right?
I couldn't get on with it. I'll be honest with you. No. I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, it's one of those things where it felt like it was trying too hard. The stuff that happens in The Boys is so outrageous and so over the top. You kind of go, okay, this is gone. It started off as Looney Tunes from episode 1, when a lady is completely vaporized by the Flash, basically running through her at light speed, and you think, right, okay, there's your level of humor and gross out and dark humor. There we are. We're there. But when you watch Gen V, and it's like, it's split between, well, the first 2 episodes anyway. So I'm probably being unfair, but it's like it's like all the high school drama stuff. It's like, oh, the only way she can use her powers is by slitting her wrists. So it's like, oh, isn't it edgy because like kids suicide and all this kind of thing? And it's just like, nah, you're shooting the dial's gone the wrong way for me with the outrage, because it's not outrage that's just like taking superhero tropes and going, look how silly it is, but it's gone, look at all the school tropes and we won't make fun of it because obviously you can't make fun of it, so we'll turn it into a serious drama. And it's just like, nah, it didn't land. And I might watch it again and reappraise it. But after 2 episodes of, get the female students, making money on OnlyFans using their superpowers and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's not doing the it's not making light of the situations they're sending up. Which is, fine. It's a different show altogether. But for me, it was just like, it was kind of going the wrong way. It was going too far towards, we're not just sending this up, we're just going outrage. I mean, like I say, I only did 2 episodes, so I'm not saying that I didn't. I've got it pegged. I'm just saying that to me, it was just the balance wasn't there. Whereas, you see like the Hollywoodness, the sort of fakery, the government conspiracy stuff in The Boys, and you go, okay, that's already ludicrous. Then what you do is you stick superheroes in it and you make them ultra violent, and it's like, oh my god, that's absolutely ridiculous. And it kind of threads that needle between kind of being outrageous and saying something about the state of media and society and everything else, and you kind of like, it's so much so that now everyone's on the Boys Reddit going, hold on, they're taking the piss out of us. It's like, yes, they have been since season 1. But for me, the Gen V thing was just a bit too, it's almost like they wanted to do that with high school tropes and 90210 and all that kind of stuff. But then what happened was about halfway through writing it, they said, we can't actually make fun of that, can we? Oh, no, actually we won't. So we'll just make it look gross and horrible, but we won't take the piss.
There are a few things that come up in that show that are not. I mean, there's sort of like revelations, or is it one particular revelation that's quite sort of, turns your view of a character completely on its head.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, but but like I say, I will probably go back and reevaluate it. But those first 2 episodes seem to have the balance on the wonk. You can't go with mad and outrageous and then go, but actually we're very serious on these particular issues, because if we don't be serious on these particular issues, we will be absolutely caned in the press. And it's like, right, fine. But if you're going to take it seriously, fine, take it seriously. But then don't have the outrageous gore and all that kind of stuff from the original series suddenly transposed into that, because you can't balance that. It suddenly looks like it's like 14-year-olds writing it. It's like, oh, and then all the blood came out of it. And it's like, yeah.
I honestly, I didn't feel like that personally watching it.
No, well, like I say, I completely admit I probably got it absolutely marked wrong, and I'll watch it again, and I'll start it again, and I'll reevaluate it. But at the moment, it was just like,
it is. What I will say is, it is relevant to The Boys.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a couple of bits and pieces, but
right, okay, yeah. There's a there's a little bit more than a few bits and pieces. It's I can't say. I really
no,
can't.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, but when you've watched season 4 of The Boys, when you go back and you watch Gen V, you'll understand. You'll see it. Or you're doing it. You're you're doing it backwards anyway. But it's not going to
Mm.
matter. You're still going to. I think you'll still get enjoyment out of it
Okay.
as you
Well,
go
I'll-
through
I'll-
the series. Give it, whatever you want to give it a go. Just if it's a bit too close to you watching
No.
the thing, then fine. Step back for a while. And
I don't mind watching it again. I'll give it another go. Like I say, maybe I just hit it wrong, but to me it just didn't work. But anyway, that's to be reassessed. I will watch it and come back. Right. One last thing. Was I watched the movie yesterday night. Called "Fly Me to the Moon." Have you heard of this?
Nope.
Yes. Channing Tatum, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, I have heard of it. Yes.
And it's basically about how NASA ran out of money, or was running out of money due to the issues with Apollo 1, and they wanted to get Apollo 11 and Apollo 10 into the air to get land on the moon, and how the government and everyone else in the public was just getting bored of it, and so they get this marketing genius played by Scarlett Johansson to basically zhuzh up new interest in the space program. Mm-hmm. And it's all cool and funny, and there's a sort of rom-com element to it, and it's nicely done. And then there's this there's this bit which a lot of people might go, "Oh God, no!" But there's a sort of FBI G-man kind of character played by Woody Harrelson. He turns up and he basically says, "We can't be seen to lose. If something goes wrong with the Saturn V rocket, we can't be seen to lose. I would like you to," this is to Scarlett Johansson, to basically fake the moon landing in a warehouse on the site, and we will record the moon landing and the guys on the surface of the moon, so that if something goes horribly wrong, we'll play that video instead.
Right.
And so there's this whole sort of double-sided thing of Channing Tatum, who's the straight-laced sort of mission coordinator, wanting to do the right thing and fly, get to the moon.
Yeah.
And then there's Scarlett Johansson, who's compromised, kind of going, okay, well, we've got to make this thing in secret. But she's not comfortable about it. And it's like, but will they show the real one? Will they show the fake one?
Yeah.
And so there's a bit of it where it's like it's catnip for conspiracy theorists. You can just see people just getting halfway through the film and going, "See, told you." But I'll let you watch it. But it was fun. It was fun, and it was fine. And it doesn't explicitly say, "Oh yeah, by the way, they did fake the moon landings." It doesn't do that. But it does leave that kind of, this could have happened. This is what could have happened. And you're like, oh, God, there's some neckbeard in a basement somewhere going, nope, that's absolutely how it happened. It definitely happened that way.
It did actually happen like that. They didn't go to the moon. They were they got Oliver Stone in, right? Okay, so, do the fake filming. And in the end, he's like, well, I agree with you, but we're going on location.
Don't you mean Stanley Kubrick?
Stanley Kubrick, sorry. What am I talking about? Oh, fuck.
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone. It is Oliver Stone. He's the three-legged Oliver Stone is America.
Yeah.
He's Jack the fucking Peg now.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's at the cinema now, and it's probably finishing its run now, and it's on Amazon if you want to pay, cinema
money.
Ticket prices, for it. I probably wouldn't recommend you do that. I would wait until it comes on streaming proper. But it was fun. It was fun. It was an amiable hour and 40 watching attractive leads romantically dance around each other for a while in the sort of 1960s setting, and then have a slightly fun conspiracy theory thing thrown into the mix. It was all right. It weren't great, but it was all right. It was passable. Yeah, so that's that really. Yeah, so been ill, watched The Boys, watched Fly Me to the Moon, snotted everywhere. Thanks very much. Oh, and I ripped my nose hairs out. There you go. We run the gamut of life on this podcast, don't we? Water leaking from taps, men walking around haunted train stations, Jim doing his knee and going for jogging and getting bear traps on Amazon. I mean, where else would you get this kind of content? Really, seriously.
Absolutely nowhere.
No, exactly. So yeah, we did have some feedback for last week's episode. And he says going to the Black Dog Facebook group. Firstly, one thing that came up was that someone called Carol Metcalf on the Facebook group suggested that the Black Dog team should sign up for this, which was a sponsored willy walk, where everyone dresses up like giant penises and goes for a 4-mile walk around London.
So standard clothes for us then. Yep, just casual. Right.
I think she took the description of a couple of knobs walking around London a little too far, if I'm perfectly honest. Unfortunately, sadly, it isn't. It's too late to enter now because I know. I said that as well. Apparently, the Willy Walk takes place. It's the 17th as we record. The Willy Walk takes place on the 19th, and you should have registered by the beginning of the week. So never mind. Sorry there, Carol. Sorry.
Look at it this way: who wants to go to a place where a load of pricks hang out? Hey,
No, not especially when you can put on your Apple Music and listen to Four doing it for free. And here we are. Yeah. So the other thing was we had a couple of bits of feedback, mainly sort of due to the discussion of me going to New York last week. Firstly, we had Robert Taylor come on and said I needed this podcast for my commute on that. Into that there London this morning, so he was quite happy. Mike Byrne said quite succinctly, summing up my New York review: Statue of Liberty, I thought it would be bigger. Freedom Tower, it's too big. Don't get me started on the state of cab drivers, which I think I should have probably run my How's Your Week through Mike, to be honest. That would have saved us about 45 minutes. Odile Thomas said, Lee, you do know that you can take the tube, or should I say subway, to the airport. Talking again about my experiences with the taxi. Just to address that. Firstly, I didn't know where the subway was at the airport when we landed after nearly 7 hours in the air and being discombobulated and having already booked the taxi. But coming back, that was definitely one of the things that was on the list, because I was like, "Oh God, no! I'm not taking another cab. I'm just not doing it." And to the point where I was actually going to rent a hotel room actually at the airport. But it turned out that because we had to be 3 hours before takeoff, that means we would have had to be on a New York subway at about 5 a.m. Now, I love New York, and I think it's a lovely place. But would I want to be on a New York public subway at 5 a.m. heading south? No. I think the answer is no. See, while the taxis may be deadly dangerous and may have shaved like several years off my life just by being in it, I think my life chances would have been increasingly decreased, massively decreased, by being on one of the roughest subway services at the most early time and they were running.
Yeah,
I just don't think that would be the safest option.
And not to mention all those strange individuals who like to masturbate on those trains as well, in front of everyone.
Well, let's be honest, Dal. You weren't there, so I would have been all right.
I was given a warning as well.
a small ticket and told to stand in the
Yep.
corner next time and not make eye contact.
Indeed. My court case is next Thursday. So
Hmm. So yeah.
they called me the Zip It Up Kid. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it really. Yeah. So that was our feedback. But if anybody has any other feedback for this episode or any other episode, or they want to bring anything else up, then by all means send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com on the email, or get on the Facebook group. We've had a couple of people join actually, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. And yeah, we'll read it out next time. Anyway, right, we'll leave it there, and when we come back, we will be off to rainy Belfast, that glamorous, glorious area of the world, to experience what it's like to be a squaddy behind enemy lines in 1971. Roll the jingle.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monica film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today. What will we say?
Right, so 71 is a 2014 British thriller film directed by Jan Demange. Jan Demange, that's it, in his directorial feature debut. Jan Demange, by the way, he was well known for directing the do you remember the Big Brother zombie thing for was it Charlie Brooker, Dead Set?
Yes.
Dead
Yes.
Set, yeah.
Yeah, he directed that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there you go. It's a British thriller. Jan Demange did it. It's written by Gregory Burke, set in Northern Ireland. It stars Jack O'Connell, Sean Harris, David Wilmot, Richard Dormer, Barry Keoghan, Paul Anderson, and Charlie Murphy. And it tells the fictional story of a British soldier, who becomes separated from his unit during a riot in Belfast at the height of the Troubles in 1971. The film was released in February 2014 and had a budget of $8.1 million. How much did it make at the box office, Jim?
2.5 million thrown bottles of piss.
Nice. Elton. Yeah. Tread carefully, my friend.
I really can't. I can't think of it. One orphanage house. There we go.
One orphanage house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Fair
can't
enough.
think of anything.
Fair dues. Darren.
A windscreen full of shit.
A windscreen full of shit. You're right. Okay. Well, you're all wrong. Actually, what it was it earned a slightly mistaken placing of a piece of it was of a lunchbox in the back of a pub.
Oopsies.
Whoopsies. Whoopsie. So, whoopsie do.
I think
So-
there were bangers and mash in there.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
God Almighty. Right. Okay. So, yeah. What was I going to say? Yes. So it actually earned at the box office only 3.1 million, as opposed to the 8.1 million that was cost to make it. So it wasn't exactly a success. It was then later bought up and now is on Netflix. Though it did earn a couple of awards at the British Independent Film Awards. for Best Independent Film, Best Director, and nominated for Best Actor, Supporting Actors, and Screenplays. So, let's go around the table. Darren, you'll go last because you picked it. And we'll go around the table and just, without spoilers, say what you thought about it. So we'll start with you, Elton. What did you think of 71?
I thought it was very, very good. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about this conflict, though. So I'm not going to go anywhere near that, I don't think. But this was tense. It was pretty scary as well. Lots of, do I trust this person? Do I not trust this person? I don't really. Lots of conflict in my head as well. So, yeah, there was a lot going on, but I really enjoyed this.
Okie dokie. Jim.
I really liked this one as well. I say I'd only heard of it very, very vaguely, and by the time I got to the end of it, it was kind of like, why hasn't everyone heard about this movie? What happened? You know what I mean? Kind of, because this is a very, very good movie. It's a great thriller, but it's also a great slice of history that's kind of unflinchingly honest and doesn't duck the well, the vital question about the Troubles is that there isn't an easy answer, and there isn't good guys and bad guys, and there never was. And the way it handled that, I thought was quite admirable. It was just, this is the shit that went on, and you see it from all sides through the course of this one man's journey, and it was very kind of, I don't know, it brought a lot of memories back from, you know what I mean? From the days of my youth when terror was Irish.
Yeah,
which, I mean, I'm not saying that flippantly, but that is kind of, to a younger person, you say terrorism, they have an entirely different culture in mind, entirely different people. But growing up in the 70s and the 80s, even into the 90s, in Britain, terror was the IRA, you know, and the Troubles was this constant thing on the news, like this rumbling, not quite a war that never went away, and. Yeah, so I mean, I think it really just hit lots of nails on the head, but in a way that is a gripping, accessible film as well. Though that's not a soapbox to be seen.
No. Cool. For me, I liked it. I did like it. I found it to be it was a bit curious for me because on the one hand, I thought as a thriller, I thought great, and as a little sort of cameo of the world and how it was at the time, it's really well done. The only thing that kind of put me on the back foot a little bit was because it didn't go into any lengths to explain who, what, where, and why. So there were certain moments in the story which I won't speak about now but where I'm kind of like, what's happening here? Why are they? Who? What? And alliances seem to be shifting and twisting, and that kind of kept me kind of wanting to know more about the background than the plight of the soldier, if you know what I mean. Which is obviously a completely different film, but it was one thing that was kind of constantly coming back to me in my head. That I was like, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really interested in it. I'm digging it as an adventure thriller sort of thing going on. But every now and again, there was a moment where I'm like, yeah, but why? Why is X, Y, and Z happening? So it kind of kept just knocking me a bit back out of it. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, overall, thumbs up, totally. Darren, what about you?
I really enjoyed this. You could tell. I mean, I realised how exciting this film was because I started watching this at 1 a.m. and I didn't sleep. I didn't fall asleep or anything. I had my eyes wide open watching this all the fucking time.
Wow.
It was just like, fucking hell. I mean, yeah, I personally, I'm like, oh, this was a good pick. Oh, wait a minute, I picked this one. So yeah, fucking hellfire, Darren. You could do Broken Clock. Yes, there we go. Yes, that's me. I am the Broken Clock.
This is your redemption for Maniac Cop, is it?
Exactly. This is one of the twice a day getting it right things.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
You felt quite proud of yourself.
I did. I know. I mean, because I remember a lot about this sort of period of time as well. I remember what it was like to take the threat of, explosives going off somewhere in London almost as a part of life, really. And it kind of like it even, I don't know, it's good to see. It's good to see this sort of. I wouldn't say this was a biased view at all. I think it did present quite a fair, sort of very human view of it all. It's the whole thing of there was good and bad on. It's like there were good and bad on both sides. There were people who were there drafted in to do this, and there were people who were really working the situation to their advantage in one way or the other, especially with the British secret agents that were there doing what they did.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
Spoilers, son.
My apologies.
Not yet.
But it's the I say I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Terrifying in places.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So there you go. There's our thoughts, our general thoughts without any spoilers in it. And now it's time for the spoiler zone. So we'll just throw that in. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about it some more. But basically, if you want to see 71, it's on Netflix. It's well worth a look. And here we go with the spoiler zone.
There will now be a short intermission.
Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley.
And here we are on the other side of the spoiler zone. Right, so let's get started. Obviously, if you don't want to know anything about the film, stop listening. Go watch the film. Then come back. It's been right there. It's there. 10 minutes in. There you go. But we are going to spoil stuff. So let's start with the environment, okay? Because this was the thing I had the problem with. Okay. How did you feel the film? I mean, bearing in mind that this film came out in 2014, I think I said. Yeah. So it's like, was it 40 years, 50 years in, past the Troubles, So, well, I'd say 40 years, 50 years from from that date, and nearly sort of, when was the Good Friday Agreement? I can't even remember that. I know.
Can I?
Hold on 1 second, man. Look this up thing on the internet. Good Friday Agreement. The Good Friday Agreement was endorsed on April Good Friday 1998. So it's good, from the movies, from when the movie was released. It's a good sort of 16, 17 years since that event. So for a newbie coming to this movie completely blank, how well do you think it put the Troubles over? Because that was my big problem. Coming at this blank and knowing as little as I did about the Troubles beyond IRA unionists, Protestants and Catholics, it really doesn't go into it in any way. So, how do you feel about that? Anyone?
I think you can with a film like this where it presents the situation as it stands right there and then. Right, it's not going back in history. It's not gonna. It didn't try and teach you why the conflict began, or make comment on how it ended later on in some sort of written script at the end. It presented you with the year and went, this was the situation at the time. And I think that's a good way of putting it, because you are left to take this screenshot of life around about that time, and it's you make your own mind up as to, it's letting you make your own mind up as to what you think of that situation. It presents. I thought it presented things fairly, because it didn't actually try and push. It didn't try and show, like the British as being totally good, or the IRA as being totally good, or anything like this. No romanticized views. The film's quite brutal, and it's quite honest about. I thought it was quite honest about both sides.
But does it set that up? That's what I'm trying to say. You're viewing it. You're viewing it with at least the passing knowledge of what the conflict was about, who were the players on all sides. Yep. Someone like let's say you sat Maria down in front of this. Okay. Someone who is in school now doing a GCSE, so she's as old as the actual Good Friday Agreement.
Yep.
What would she know about the events that cause the film that propels the film along, and does the film put that across? Because this is the thing that I came back to over and over again, was who are these guys? Who are these guys? What their relationship to each other is, and by the time you get to that, you're at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I was trying to get from you and Elton and Jim is, do you think that put that across, or was it all relying on us as the audience to fill in the blanks from what we already knew?
I think the scenes where the RUC are going in and kicking the 7 bales of shite out of people in their own homes, just breaking down doors and going in, kind of gives you an idea of the brutality that was dished out at the time.
But again, you're not told that they're the RUC.
No, you do. You get told they're the RUC.
I thought it was just told the local unionist.
No, they say the RUC need you to go out on a patrol with them because they're doing house-to-house searches.
And
they actually say that.
Yeah, and who are the RUC?
So you want every aspect of this explained. It's like you can only go so far in this. You can only go so far in this, right?
No, well, I get that, but what I'm trying to get at is, in a clumsy kind of way, is that as soon as you say the RUC, you know what you mean. I know what you mean. I'm guessing Jim, Elton, you guys know what we're meaning, but a good proportion of the audience that are coming to this have no idea.
No, they're just presented with. But then it's like a lot of Vietnam films. They don't explain exactly why it started at all. You just get presented with the situation as it is, and that's it. You don't get given I don't think things like Platoon went through the entire history of why this conflict started in the first place.
No, but I think but Platoon or any sort of Vietnam movie, you kind of know that, or you're led to believe that the Americans are the good guys straight away.
But then you're shown that to be not the case.
That is true.
It's like that there were elements within the US forces that weren't exactly stable. You know, there were
Yeah.
a lot of people who were affected by what they saw. I don't know.
I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, I think Elton's getting at the point. I think I'm trying to make, which is when you're presented with a war. Yeah, wars are big historical global things, whether you rightly or wrongly, and you will know generally Army A and Army B,
right?
And First World War, Second World War, the Boer War, the Battle of Rorke's Drift, all these other massive, great big conflicts. You know them. The American Civil War. You got these things. The troubles in Northern Ireland were strictly limited to a UK thing and an Irish thing, and much like. And I hate to sort of bring this up because I feel like I'm stepping right into an unknown that I have no context for, but I think it makes the point. The Palestine-Israel thing that's going on right now.
Right.
We know the general things. We know about the October the 7th attack. We know about the players involved. We haven't got any context of the previous 70, 80 years of history that have led to all this.
And the rest.
Hundreds of years. But you know what I mean.
Yes.
The point is, we haven't got context. So, on the one hand, you'll read a news story and you go, "Oh, the Palestinians are being, getting a real fucking fucked over here," and then 5 minutes later, you're reading another news report and you go, "Oh, the Israelis are getting fucked over here," and so you have no real context or understanding to make a judgment call on who's really right and wrong. The same with the Irish Troubles. Can you or anyone here definitively say what was going on? And do we have any context for that? And I'm just the thing I'm trying to get really round to roughly, and then I'll back out and you guys can just talk because I'll just waffle forever. Is that this movie is really interesting and really good, but the context in which it's sitting, so inside the Irish Troubles, to me, and this is the bit I was knocking back on, to me felt like a thing that was just a box to put the adventure story of a man behind enemy lines. Because the box he was in, we didn't understand it, other than there's lots of dangerous folk, and some of them are on his side and some of them aren't. That was it. And if you took that whole story and lifted it out and put it in Vietnam, or if you put it in World War II, in the Somme, or anywhere else, that story wouldn't have changed. Not one single jot.
No, I disagree.
Okay, no, that's good. That's cool. That's cool. This is what I want. Go for it, Jim. Go.
Because, I mean, I know the Troubles are a very UK-Irish thing, but they are known about it. I mean, apparently in certain places in America, if you went to an Irish bar, at some point in the night, they'd pass that around for the cause. These things were well known. U2 sang about them. Lots of Irish bands have sung about the Troubles. So it is it's a known thing. I think this movie takes very much the perspective of our central character. He's a young squaddy, like a lot of people, even in Britain who've grown up with the Troubles. We don't really know what's going on. The commander explains the situation, saying basically there's Unionists and then there's the pro-IRA section that's marked out on the map, and it's kind of that's keep out of those areas. They're the trouble areas. These guys are sort of on our sides, and basically it's I mean, the Troubles were incredibly complicated. They have a long history, but from the perspective of this story, it just set it up. This is an occupied country. He's been just drafted in at short notice because they're short staffed, because things are going tits up, as they always were. And, basically, his voyage is a first-hand view of what's behind the headlines. You know, you heard about the IRA, the bombing places, blah, blah, they want a free island. You heard these unionists who don't like them and they, want to stay in Britain. But then you get the reality.
Which you even get the
British police
well.
the British Army aren't whiter than white. The local police are kicking the shit out of whoever they feel like. The IRA are like one gang, but also the unionists are another gang. And, it isn't a case of who's right or wrong. Like, I think with them, well, any situation like this, it's basically, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong, because at the end of the day, it's a great Peter Capaldi speech. You're all going to have to eventually get round the table and stop arguing about who's right or wrong in order to stop this shit.
You're going to have to do what you always meant to do and sit down and talk.
But what this film exposes, I think, though, that in a situation like that, a certain type of person, a psychopathic type of people, get very, very deep into, it's not just the cause they're fighting for, it's being in charge of people with violence and guns and running everything. And what you find out at the end is those sort of men, they're actually not the enemies. They're quite happy to maintain a status quo and collaborate with each other against the public on both sides, against peace itself, if you will. So they can continue their fucking gangland power fantasies.
As represented by Sean Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, because if peace comes along, then they lose their perch, don't they?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, no, it was something that struck me last night because I was looking, once I'd seen the film, I looked it up and I saw it was in 2014. I'm thinking, well, fuck me, that's 16 years ago since the events.
See, I'd be interested to present this to my kids and say, sit down, watch this with no context. They've never lived through IRA bombings or anything like that at all. And for me, I remember certain things and not a lot of others, and it was never really talked to me at all. It was on the news, and the news was boring, so you stay away from that, and never really hit me at all. No. It was there, and then I remember the leader of Sinn Féin on the news and having his voice blanked out. You're like,
Jerry Adams.
That was just that was such a ridiculous tactic to. It's like what you're still hearing his words, but it's like I think the Day Today made a point of that where they had him speaking after taking helium. It's that's how ridiculous this is, right? Is that supposed to take away the power of his words? Is it? Right. Okay, sure.
But I think what this film does really well is it sticks you kind of in the middle of it. And it is a soldier behind enemy lines story, but I don't think that's the main story. It is about all the other pawns around that guy. It's the underhandedness sometimes. It's, okay, do I trust anyone? I'm not too sure if I trust absolutely anyone. Why is this kid being like this? Why is he such a fucking... Look at the stones on this kid. It's incredible. And then going into the pub and you're like, am I in the right place? Am I at the safest? Am I just going to be lynched? And it's a wonderful... You really don't know who to trust on this. The paranoia is all over the place. And I don't think I've had paranoia like that since The Thing.
Yeah.
I think it also shows as well, to I think paraphrase something that Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Right? A prime example of this is you have the guys from the IRA who are going around hunting the soldier, and you've got that one particular bloke who's in charge of the this crew that's going around looking for him.
Mm.
Once he gets a gun pointed at him, right, with a bloke he knows is meant to, you see he's not so tough anymore.
Mm.
And then the guy turns to him and says, "I'll be in touch." And it's as if he's receptive to it. And suddenly this whole kind of, I'm fighting for this thing here, and I'm really, it's like he's not completely that way. He's now open to working with the enemy. And I think that's a great thing about this film. It shows people are not completely, they're not completely straight as a die. They are, it's like reaction to a situation can change a person's point of view.
What, kneeling down with a gun to the back of your head?
Exactly. You saw the fear in the man's face when this happened. Where he's this quite ominous character, suddenly, oh no, the power has shifted in this situation, right?
Mm.
And you see it also in the soldiers as well. I mean, not that the main character was particularly nasty or anything like this. He was kind of a bit shell-shocked by everything that just went on. It's that whole thing
innocent,
of...
really.
Yeah.
Very much, just poor bastard just dropped into this. No, not prepared in the slightest for how utterly fucked up it was going to be.
Exactly. And you see members of the public who, while they hated the British Army, you saw when it got to a point where they thought one of the soldier was going to get killed, and they're like, "No, stop this! What are you doing? You can't kill him. What are you all crazy? But stop this!" It was that woman trying to stop the people from killing the soldier. As much as she probably doesn't like the British Army, it's that whole thing of you're presented with this, you're presented with the death of this enemy, but it's like suddenly it's real, and it's as much as it's the enemy laying on the ground, it's a defenseless person who you're about to put an end to, and that's what I like about this. It's that whole, when people are presented with a realistic situation, suddenly the situation gets real. Do they stick with their original belief, or does it affect them? Does it's like, oh, wait a minute, no, I know I said, I wish they were all dead, but I'm kind of in the situation there where that's a possibility, and I'm not really quite happy with that at all.
Like Barry Keoghan's character, when he, 1 minute he's a gunman, next minute he's presented with the actual act, and then he bottles it.
Yeah, and he even saves the soldier's life in the end, and it still gets a bullet,
for his trouble.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's very much like the Sam Jackson character last week, where he's like, "Well, I'm not trying to save a cop. I'm trying to stop cops from coming around here and with itchy trigger fingers."
Yeah,
that's
and
exactly
that's
what
thing.
you think
they
about
find
the
a dead
bigger
soldier.
picture.
Yeah, it gets worse.
But I think it does a grand job of the balance of there is no right and wrong in this.
No.
Or sorry, good and evil, bad and badder. There's lots of grey. There's bad people that you want the comeuppance. That guy that the bit that shocked me when the guy just strolled up to the soldier and just shot him in the face immediately, just killed him outright.
Yeah,
and you're like, flipping hell. And you kind of want a comeuppance for him, don't you? I think
which he was the only one who got any comeuppance.
Yeah, he is. But there's a lot of grey areas going on here, and I can really appreciate it for that, because it's not scared to say It's not scared to say these are not bad people, but they're not good. They're really not good people. You know, these guys that the soldier is being protected by also have fucking bombs.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure whether that bomb was to... See, this is where I get confused in these troubles. Was that bomb supposed to be detonated later on to pretend that was an IRA attack?
No, it was supposed to be it's supposed to be the Protestants showing that they've got as much in the way of firepower as the IRA.
Right,
to send a message to the IRA to say, if you've got bombs, yeah, we've got them as well.
But you get them. But you get that moment of, oh, we'll just shove it in this backpack.
Yeah,
because they've got it in a lunch bag. Shove it in the backpack, get it caught, and they go. And he's like, "Stop! Don't bash it, you silly bastard!" And then, so, yeah.
Then later on, it's kind of, what are you doing blowing up that pub? We go, I thought you blew up the pub.
Yeah.
And it is kind of, it's all these, you know, one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing in these organisations. It's all little guys with their own crews, their own turf,
their own little fiefdoms.
Yeah. It's not like two armies fighting at all. It's far more sort of fucked up, you know. And because of that, it is just all, you know, obviously, like your Boyle has been working with the undercover guys, and they think, all right, he's fucked up this one, therefore he dies. We recruit somebody else to be our mole. And that's just the way it goes. And that's, you know, that's how we keep a lid on everything.
Well, where the whole sort of like not knowing what one side is doing, I mean, this is why they're referred to as cells, because I think the tactic was they're given, there's a, you know, they have a group of guys who work together, but because there's no communication, it means that it's less chance of people like the British government finding out what they were going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So if you arrest one, you only get a couple of other guys because they don't know anyone else.
Exactly. So it's that was the sort of tactic that they used, apart from many others, of course.
But may I ask, the troubles, is this because the Irish didn't want the English in Ireland and they wanted to take Ireland back and not have Northern Ireland?
Well, that's where you get...
I'm pretty sure it was part of it, but there's other stuff as well. There's all kinds of stuff that's happened. I'm not sure of the specifics, but yeah, of the whole thing is the British occupation, and it's like, we want you gone.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was also the Protestant side that didn't want the army gone.
That was it. There was the Northern Ireland problem, is that a good chunk of Northern Ireland wanted to stay British.
Yeah.
And it was very much that Northern Ireland was very much divided by half the people wanted to stay British, half people wanted to join Ireland.
I mean, I'm looking it up now. The history of the Troubles, so to speak, dates back to the starting in 1609.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you heard the phrase "beyond the pale"?
Yeah.
Do you know where it comes from? Because this is interesting. It dates back to that period.
Right.
Because the Pale was a tract of Ireland, and that was considered the home of the civilized Irish aristocracy who the British aristocracy could deal with. And they were kind of, if I remember rightly, they were on the coast. The Pale was a strip on the coast facing England. Once you went beyond the Pale, you're in the wildlands.
Yeah.
And they were considered uncivilized and brutish. And basically, I can't remember which king it was, but the idea was, you know what, those Irish, they're a bit lively. They're always fucking kicking 7 shades of shit out of each other. If they had been organised, they could be a pain in the problem. So we preemptive. Well, we'll invade them and keep them down just to stop them so they don't invade us, basically. That was the original thinking. That's simplifying it massively, but that was sort of basically it. And it does go back many centuries.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problem with the Troubles was, it wasn't about the politics. It was generational. It was like a feuds. You know, like in the movie, this kid said, they killed my dad. And you know what I mean? He's not even 12, and he's fully paid up and will fight for the rest of his life. And good job trying to persuade him otherwise. But that had been going on for literally generations of back to the 1700s of people who've lost family, and it's like a massive blood feud. And
yeah, I mean that's the problem here is, and this is the thing where I'm kind of trying to stay a little bit detached, is because there is so much. Just looking at this Wikipedia from 1600 onwards, it's just like
there's a lot.
There's a lot. I think the phrase "a lot to unpack."
And the broom cupboard used to say goodbye to Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah, well, they still do. Not they don't, but what was it? No, there's still things like scheduling being different. And, anyway.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
By the way, I went over to Belfast just before everything kind of completely
kicked off. What, in the 1600s?
Calmed down from as they were getting into the agreements and things were calming down. I went over there to do a stock taking job. Now, before the history, we're going over doing jobs like that. The stock taking crews were often told, "Don't go out at night while you're over there doing the stock taking." Like it was the Boots the Chemist we were doing, and the crews there that went over to do this were told, "You stay in the shop, you don't go anywhere at night. That's it. You bring your food in, you don't go out." So it's like, of course, that's all relaxed when I go there. But I remember taking a break in the evening because we were doing night work, and I went out. I think I went to like Burger King or something like this. I got food from there, and as I'm walking back, coming towards me is an army jeep. It's like one of those green things, right? And I mean, I'm still a little bit wary about the place anyway. I'm keeping my wits about me, and I'm stood there watching this fucking thing goes by, and it's like, okay, it's like this is a reminder of kind of indications of how it used to be. And as it's gone by me, I'm looking at it, and hanging out the back is this soldier with this great big fucking assault rifle. And it's like, oh man. I mean, I'm just seeing that and I'm feeling uneasy. What must it have been like walking around there, seeing more than that, seeing whole fucking parades of this kind of thing? It just really was. And I kind of hurried up a bit and got back to the shop. It was just, no, I don't feel like staying out on the street anymore. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I've changed my mind.
Exactly.
Here's my point.
Yes.
But then a few years later, when it was a lot more safer, I went over there again, and it's like, you could go out, and it's nightlife and everything like this. Incidentally, I did stay near the most bombed hotel in Belfast, I think it was. They've got one there, and it took quite a brunt of terrorist attacks.
Is that because they knew you were there?
I think so. But but no, during its time, it experienced quite a few attacks. That building. It's in the I can't remember what the thing's called now. It's been
Europa Hotel.
I think that's it. Yeah, and it's it's one place you didn't stay in if you had to go there back then.
Jesus.
Yeah. I did also take a trip. They do tours over there as well, and we took a tour, and they take us to places like where the Titanic was built and stuff like this. But they take you through the areas where they've got all the murals and that on the wall, and it's just really is quite a sight. It's quite an experience. to go by and just look at
Mm.
all these and see what they've got written on the walls, and it's
Yeah.
you're quietened going through something like that.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
really was quite affecting. I've got to say.
Mm.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's. I think it's the problem. Just getting back to my original point. I think the problem is that I take the point that you kind of have to sort of, you can't spend forever sort of summarizing like the events and the history of the place. But I was just, at one point I was thrown by the feeling that the Troubles themselves were just merely a convenient backdrop for a man behind enemy lines adventure. But
could you say that about any film like that though? When it comes to,
yeah. And I mean, yeah,
you could take Platoon, or you could take Full Metal Jacket, and you could easily transfer that to somewhere like, where America was fighting during World War II. Any of those places, you could do the same sort of thing. It's I think you could probably be that. Any film could be guilty of that.
Okay.
I think though, it's I don't know. It's something about the fact that it was, rather than seeing like the usual sort of war film that you see, it's on British soil, and
I think the defining moment for me, is to tell you what kind of film this is when the pub explodes.
Yes.
Oh man, just
one, because of an accident, but two, because it really explodes. This isn't a Hollywood explosion where he flies up in the air, has a great ride, and gets up, dusts himself, then kicks on running.
Yeah,
It's all gone quiet. There's dust, smoke, ashes. He's actually just on the deck, prone, and it's a long shot. And he comes around and he doesn't know what's happened. And then when he does get moving, it's only then he realizes he's actually had a huge hole being blown in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the difference. This isn't this isn't a war film. This isn't an adventure story, because that sort of shit don't happen in those sort of stories.
No, this is gritty, isn't it?
Well,
this is reality. This is what it was like. You know what I mean?
And finding the boy as well.
Yeah.
And it's like both arms are missing on him, and it's just fuck.
Well, I mean, in fact, that was going to be my next question. I mean, it wasn't a movie where he was a hero.
No.
And I found that interesting, and I was wondering how you felt about the main character, Jack O'Connell's character, because he's not a conventional hero in the sense of like witty quips, utterly indestructible, proactive, any of that stuff. He's almost like a sack of grain that kind of just stumbles from one terrible thing to the next. And basically, I think they paid him by the bloody word, which is a shame because Jack O'Connell's a really good actor. And if you want to see a more of a, see him in a slightly different army light, look at the BBC SAS drama called Rogue Heroes, which is like a 4-part or 5-part thing. I watched it over Christmas. It's about the formation of the SAS, and if you see him in that, he plays an absolute psychopath. and it's like world away from it, which is funny because I came from that to this. So when I see Jack O'Connell, I'm thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
this is gonna get tasty once those guys sort of start fighting him. And actually, no, he just lays there on the pavement getting the shit kicked out of him, like a real person probably would.
Yeah.
But so I was wondering, for the guy who's got his name at the top of the poster, and has probably about half a dozen lines full stop. What did you think of him? What did you think of his character?
Personally, I thought it was fine. I wasn't. If he had been, like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, then that would have the film would have been placed a lot lower for me. I wouldn't have enjoyed it. It's like, oh, no. But the way he stumbled around getting hurt, and his wounds didn't heal in 2 seconds flat. He wasn't suddenly running a 4-minute mile or anything like this. That those wounds built up over the film, and he just got worse and worse as he went on. I really thought that added to it. I thought that was just very realistic.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with him getting sewn up, it's like he's not keeping quiet. He's shouting and screaming at the top of his voice. It's like he's not just some steel-eyed soldier, from a...
Yeah.
This is it. He's just a bloke who happens to be wearing an army uniform. He's had some training and stuff like this, but it's a very human... He wasn't he's not like some machine or anything like this. This is it. This is how the human in him deals with the situation. So, yeah, I have no problem with his character at all. I actually like the fact that he didn't have all the answers. He was struggling. And if it weren't for, intervention by the person who originally got him in trouble in the first place, he would have been a goner.
Yeah,
that's it.
But I guess the reason I asked was because, again, it kind of about halfway through it dawned on me that we weren't watching a guy being a hero. We were watching a package basically being delivered that just happened to be wearing a British soldier's uniform.
He was a man, an ordinary bloke caught in an unusual and dangerous situation that basically had to survive on his wits alone more than anything else. And I think,
I think it shows you how much he changes through just one night as well. Because you look at him at the very beginning, he's playing football. I'm guessing that's his little younger brother. So
there's that as well.
He's playing
when he comes back.
He's playing football in the beginning. He's all laughing and joking and everything like that. And next minute, when he's back, he's like, "You can't fucking open the fucking door. You can't." And it's like, fuck yeah, no, Jesus. And that was only one night as well.
But what a night!
And the stress and the betrayal, and he can't say anything about what has been said to the commanding officers in that room as he's standing outside waiting to be not dressed down but to be spoken to. And you can hear the lies just bouncing around in that room. It's just ridiculous.
The disillusionment. He's been fed to believe that the cause is true, right? That the people he's a soldier, and this is it. We are the good guys. That's what we are. And then he gets presented with the reality of that, which is people trying to win this conflict any way they can.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the cost is.
I like that it's just over one night as well. I think other films would have dragged this over a week or a month or however long they wanted to tell their story, but this is just one night. Try and survive the night.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that it was over one night because it did feel a lot tenser and made everything feel a lot more propulsive. And I mean, as far as him as a character was concerned, I thought it was interesting that you're following him, and then after a while, the film kind of shifts focus to basically everyone around him, seeing him as a problem to deal with, rather than rather than him suddenly miraculously, I don't know, I have forged this piece of string into a small axe and I shall escape, off a wire or something. So, and as the Sean Harris character comes into the fore and sort of comes to the fore, you start to get feelings that there's more shit going on in the background that you're privy to. And again, I was kind of hoping, and it's probably a good thing, really, but I was hoping for more of that. What was going on? Why were they trying to keep things, bouncing as a war between the two sides? Why were they antagonizing both sides? Apart from his own little fiefdom thing, but I'm just saying that to me became more interesting than will Jack O'Connell actually escape?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it was and I just wondered how you guys felt about that. Were you more invested in him getting out, or all the shit that was swirling around just him being in a bed?
Well, I think the fact that people who are supposedly supposed to be on his side turned out to be just as bad as the people that were hunting him down. Those three agents, the captain and his two cohorts there, who were like, right, we find this soldier and we stop him from being a problem. He saw the bomb, so we need to do something about him, which is why they kept saying to those soldiers, stay back, don't come into this bit, so they can just turn around and say, well, he got shot by the IRA, that's it. Oops, that's another soldier dead. Great shame. Give him a burial, proper military burial. Yeah. He was a hero, when actually he was just gunned down in cold blood by his own side.
Or throttled by his own side.
Yeah, or throttled by his own side.
Yeah.
But Sean Harris always, he has something else, I think. In all of his performances, we watched him, and he's always been stand out in every single movie that we've watched him in. And he just brings, there's something else there. That you're right, we are following Jack O'Connell round and to try and survive the night and maybe try and get back to his barracks. But when Sean Harris is there and he chatting away, and that moment when I think we first meet him, when I forget the guy from Peaky Blinders goes out to meet him at the car. You're like, is this like a double, triple cross type thing? Is he going to be led to this car and they're going to try and assassinate? I'm not too sure exactly what's going on here, but it's so interesting, so compelling. And I just want that. You're right. I kind of want that story now. And the main lead has been buried by this second story that's going on here, which is far more interesting.
Jim,
I think that makes a more rounded film, because you can go back to the main story anytime you want, because that is still interesting. But this is captivating.
Well, I agree. I was more interested in the backstory by the end, in the B story, than the than him himself. But what do you think, Jim?
Well, I think two very different movies, but I think both with a similar trajectory. I don't want to say agenda, but their own similar angle. I think this is very like Apocalypse Now. We start at Apocalypse Now. It's Martin Sheen. He's on a mission to kill a rogue officer. But that isn't the story at all. The story is the journey, and it is. I mean, a journey into the heart of darkness, the dark truth of the Vietnam War. And this is a similar thing. He's a man behind enemy lines. You have to survive a night in Northern Ireland, but it's not so much about getting out. It's what he sees on the way. And that's kind of where it all... He's very much an everyman character, I think, and rightly so, because he's... I mean, cause a lot of people we're very good at sticking our heads in the sand, particularly with things. The closer and more dangerous they are, the more we do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's kind of, I grew up hearing about the Troubles. I didn't really understand much about it until I went to college and, met people, fellow students who were from Ireland, both North and South Ireland. And, then you sort of get kind of, what we hear on the news is the tip of the iceberg, what's actually going on. And it's kind of, you get very, he knows kind of as much as I did. And then when he gets to Northern Ireland, it's kind of, it's not just going on patrol. He's like, holy shit, this place is fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It's kind of, everybody hates you. The whole, everyone's at each other's throats. It's absolute, it's like, it's another world. It's a complete war zone on Britain's doorstep. And a lot of people at the time, probably even now, weren't quite aware how bad it was.
Yeah.
I mean, say my aforementioned fellow Irish students, something I'll always remember was the first bonfire night a few weeks into the first term, because they were like cats on a hot tin roof, because where they come from, if you hear a bang, that means a car's gone up, someone's been shot, a pub's been blown up. And they were actually quite appalled that we, just throw explosives around on the 5th of November for a laugh.
Yeah.
It really, it really brings home kind of, this is how bad it was. I mean, a girl I know, her dad, I think he worked for the post office, something fairly innocuous, but every morning he had a broom handle with a mirror to check under his car for explosives because he could be a target.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I think this film, it's not so much about being a thrill about being behind enemy lines. It is taking you through, throwing you into the deep end and going, this is some of the mad shit that went on. And what you see in this movie ain't the half of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's far worse.
Yeah.
But it is kind of, it's a journey into the underside of the Troubles, if you see what I mean. The behind the headline stuff that is.
Yeah.
IOA bombs is a tip of a very large and disturbing iceberg.
Blimey, yeah. Half. Cool. I'm acutely aware we're closing in on midnight. Rather than me just waffling on and asking more questions, has anyone got anything particularly that they really feel like they really want to strongly bring up or want to say anything about? Because I realise I've kind of whiffled on over the top of everyone.
I don't, but I didn't write any notes during this film. Normally I'll write some notes. But I was kind of glued to it, so I didn't write anything. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Normally if I'm glued to it, I'm like furiously writing stuff down and in like pigeon form, but this time it was like, no, I'm just enjoying this.
Yeah. Jim?
No, I think I've probably said enough.
Fair enough. Okay. Fair dues. Down?
Terrified people with a few stories.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, just put an Irish tourist ball back about 20 years. It's all good.
I will say one thing, though. I mean, the thing is, as I said, I remember, all the Troubles going on. You see in this film how crazy and how bad it was. And there's worse stuff that, going on if you want to dig into it. But the thing was, we thought it would never end because it was an entrenched battle. There was generations of bloodshed. But it did.
Yeah.
It can, if people get around the table, it can fucking stop.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty an important thing to remember about this sort of thing. It can stop. It might seem completely intractable and it will never stop and one generation will keep killing another. But the cycle of violence can end, and we have seen it happen. So there you go. An uplifting note to round up on from me.
Yes. Okay. Darren?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, I just want to finish off by saying that I thought all the acting was solid. the direction was tense and tight, and I thought as a little thriller, I thought it was fantastic. I did, as you've heard throughout, I had a slight problem with the lack of context for a long point of it, but I did think it was very good. And like I say, if you want to see more of Jack O'Connell, but being a bit more what you'd expect as an action man hero, then yeah, watch Rogue. What was it, Rogue Platoon or Rogue? I can't even remember what it's called now. I nearly said Rogue Troopers, but anyway, just look it up look him up. Go watch his last thing. Can you tell I closed that link? I'm desperately trying to open it. No, forget it. So anyway, the only thing the last thoughts I would say is that the one thing I took away from this more than anything was that the cynical part of me was going, what this film shows you is that people want war to continue, not because they have an ideology, but because they have a vested interest in money and power.
Yeah,
that was the final takeaway, and I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable with that as a cynical takeaway, because there were obviously, the fucking war, the Troubles lasted 300 years if you believe Wikipedia. I have trouble finding it's not an ideological thing, but this movie presented it as a kind of like people wanted that little slice of power, and maybe that's true. Maybe it's not, but that was a kind of that was a takeaway from that movie. It was just like, oh god, especially when you put it in context of things that are current events. You think, are these wars really necessary, or are they just little men getting other people killed just so that they can stay in power?
Oh, it's selfish beliefs.
Mm.
It's one of those things. It's in any crime, you ask qui bono, who benefits, and because ideology is all very nice, beliefs are all very nice, but what people are really fucking addicted to, and what they'll move heaven and earth for, and they will destroy everything for, is money and power.
Yeah,
and everything else is just window dressing.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Well, we'll leave it there. It is a good film. It is worth watching. Do watch it if you haven't already, and you've still gone through the spoiler zone. And yeah, send us in some feedback if you want. Feedback at blackdogpodcast.com, or go on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, and leave a comment underneath the episode. We'll leave it there. Before we go though, we got three pieces of business to deal with. The first one is Elton.
Mm-hmm.
It's your pick.
It is, yes.
So,
God.
do you want to just give the listeners a little bit of a behind the scenes thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
you don't have to if you don't want to. It's fine.
I've had a couple of films on my list for a while, and something popped across my desk earlier today.
Euphemism.
Now, I may disappoint some people in this, but I haven't got the heart to do this.
You coward.
I am a coward.
Come on.
But I will give links to everyone, so they're more than welcome to pull that pin if they wish. The film I'm not going to be doing is the Turkish version of E.T.
Son of a bitch.
which is called
What?
Homotori, I think it is. It means Homo ET.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You heard me right. So I will give you a link. Oh God, have I
It's all right. I've got it.
Could you send the link around, please?
Yes, I will do
This
that.
is what he was giggling like a school child at earlier on.
Yes. Yes, it
Right.
was.
Now, if you want me to do this, we
I'm
will
gonna
do
put-
this.
I'm going to put it on the Facebook group. There you go. I'm just going to slap it straight into the Facebook
Oh, okay,
group.
cool. Right.
Then that way it's right there for all to see.
And underneath that, underneath on the Facebook group, if you want us to cover this, then we will. I'll use it up on my next one. Well, it won't be the next one because that's the Halloween thing, isn't it? So,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
To sort of like to quote an exorcist, what possessed you?
Well, you guys do this to me. And so I thought, fuck you. And found this.
But you have to watch it as well. So
I
it's
know.
not like pulling the pin on a hand grenade and ha-ha, wild card.
It is, but it feels... I realise why you guys do it. It feels good to do it to other people. And you don't mind taking the hit.
There you go.
Whereas I'm always on the receiving end of this going, for fuck's sake, maybe I'll just have this week off. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I see. Right.
So maybe if we get people asking us to do this, it looks fucking
Sorry, I'm
awful
looking
as
at
well. It looks terrible. Then maybe I'll pull the pin in the future. But I can't bring myself to do it this time round. So what we are doing, because I've found a lot of films on my list now on Amazon, but there's one that I do want to do, and I've noticed it's got different name on Amazon now. I don't know why.
There's a couple like that because they have the American poster instead of the English poster.
Okay, well this is different. This is very strange. So there's a film. If you go down to the woods today, you're in for a big surprise. And this film is called Black Country. But if you search for it on Freevee, it's called Back Country.
Black Country.
Yeah. Now, the way I found it is if you go to IMDb, type in Black Country, look for the 2014 film, and it's got a link to watch it on Amazon on there. You click on that and it sends you straight to the film. But it's called, I think you have to search for Back Country.
Yeah, Canadian nature survival horror film.
Yeah, there we go. So
loosely based on a true story.
I think very loosely based on the true story as well.
Well, let's save that discussion.
Yeah, or Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, Cocaine Bear. Yeah,
I want to do this as much as I want to do Turkish ET, which I really don't actually. I just found it amusing that it was there. But yeah, I'm gonna call it Black Country. So Black Country, but it was also named as Back Country on Amazon for some weird reason.
The posters are interesting. I'm looking for the posters right now.
Oh, I've got one already.
Oh, good. Have you put it on the?
I will do in a second.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Back Country, aka Black Country, aka it's on Freevee on Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's there.
Has anyone seen this film or anyone heard?
Yeah, that's the question. That's the question. Has anyone seen this film? No. Has anyone heard this film? No.
I think I have heard of it vaguely.
Have you?
But,
I realised I was thinking of Black Sheep. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest. I have not.
Okay.
Does that make it a bad film? No, because
Not
there
yet.
are lots of not yet because I haven't seen it yet. By the way, I did put a picture of the ET from Turkish ET in the first reply to the link, so you can see it sitting on a sofa with a guy in his dressing gown and his mum in a hairnet, and she's just going, "Okay," which I think sums it up nicely. Okay, well, Backcountry / Black Country. Yeah, it's on Freevee on Amazon. And, we shall certainly be looking at that next week.
Jolly good.
what is this strapline on the poster?
What?
Gnaden loose wildness.
I don't know. I don't know. It was the best picture I could find.
I've got one that doesn't have that bit on it if you want. Would you like me to put that in?
You can put whatever you want in. I don't care.
No, next week we review it all in that language, which I put.
Yeah. Now let's watch a film without let's watch a film without subtitles season. Yeah, there you go.
I wonder if that's why I couldn't find it on Just View or Just Watch. Just Watch. I wonder if I type in Backcountry.
Yes. Well, it's on the banner now. Anyway, right. Now, before we get to Pimp's Corner, we obviously have to come up with one other thing, the phrase that pays for this week. Anyone got anything they'd like to throw out which isn't going to suddenly undermine our thoughtful discussion of the Troubles and the movie this week? Because I think we actually did quite well and didn't resort to silly accents in the last half of this episode. So, what do you think? What can we think of? I don't think Wi-Fi 7 again. That was too easy.
That was popular though. Dear me.
That
people
was.
like
Oh
that.
God, yeah. Oh yeah. People did like a Wi-Fi 7.
What about an in-flat water feature?
An in-flat water feature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. That's...
In-flat water feature. Also can be exchanged for your American version in apartment water feature.
Indeed. We'll allow it.
Yes, we'll allow it.
Allow it.
Allow it. Jesus Christ. Yes. Cool. Okie dokie. Well, there you go. So, yeah, we will be back next week for Back Country and allow it in flight water feature. In apartment water feature. In flat water feature. But last thing as ever. Pimp's Corner. Let's find out what's happening with you, Jim. What's happening at hypnagoria.com?
This week I will be releasing a ghost story by Shojan Lefanu, set in the autumn. And on what day are we on? In the next couple of days, anyway, I'll be releasing a new commentary club in which me and Teresa watched The Purge, which both of us hadn't seen before.
Oh, interesting.
Which that was an interesting listen. And on the main show, basically, I was lazy this week and just did a little bit of a chat.
Okay,
that was
cool. Yeah, that's it. Cool. And what about you, Elton, over at rogue2media.com?
Just cars going round in circles at the moment. We finished our trip through Band of Brothers. We're having a little break, and then we're going to head over to the Pacific very, very soon. But
nice.
Via the Thin Red Line.
And the final countdown.
No, we're not doing the final countdown. We've had discussions. We're not doing the final countdown.
Godzilla -1.
No. Although Pearl Harbor is still on the table.
Yeah. What What about Tora?
Maybe later.
Okie dokie, brilliant. Right, well that's it then. Darren, you got anything to push or promote or anything?
Absolutely, sod all.
Apart from plumbers? No?
No, sorry, nothing.
Okay, brilliant. All right then. Right, well, in which case, it just leaves me to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And yes, thank you all again, and send in your feedbacks as ever. And we will speak to you next week when we come back to hike in the back country, or the black country, or that country with the bears in it. I don't know. Bye, everyone. Tatty, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Oh, I've broken it. I've broken the format. It's all gone wrong.
You have.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.